Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to discuss entropy in the context of living things and how living things manipulate entropic situations to gain the energy that they need in order to stay alive. And so first, we have to discuss very briefly what the notion of entropy actually is. Trash bins in my way. So entropy is this principle within our universe where everything needs to trend towards disorder. Entropy is a value that represents how much disorder there is in a system. And so if you think of perhaps a stack of blocks, you take those blocks and you stack them up in a nice tower. That's a highly ordered structure, right? That's a lower entropy state than it was when there's blocks all over the floor. Right? And now that tower of blocks is not going to tend to stay there without some kind of input of energy, right? Or some kind of force that keeps it stacked and orderly. It's much more likely to fall over on its own. Right? That stack would never just spontaneously pop up. Right? Something would have to put that stack together. Right? And so the universe is always trending towards disorder. So a positive entropy value means there is more disorder, and a negative entropy value means there is more order. Yeah. Now, the principal mechanics of the universe dictate that in every reaction, the overall entropy of the system must increase. There's not a single instance of events in which the overall entropy of a system decreases. In very specific parts of that system, you can have decreases in entropy, right? But as a whole, you must have more disorder created than you have order created. And now obviously that's an issue for us as living beings because we require a very specific order. Right? Our molecules have to be very specifically shaped. Our cells have to be very specifically shaped. Our organs have to be very specifically shaped. Right? If we lose those shapes, we lose the functions of those things. And in this case, those functions are the functions of being alive. Right? So when we lose the ability to manipulate our order, we die. We're dead. Right? And so this story of entropy is very important for us if we want to stay alive. Right? And so in order to decrease the entropy in a specific instance, that is to say, in order to make something more ordered, you have to pair the reaction that is making that order with reactions that are creating more disorder. Right? And so in living things, an easy example to point to is photosynthesis. Right? So photosynthesis takes two high entropy molecules, carbon dioxide and water, and it converts them into a much lower entropy molecule, glucose. Now, glucose has much more order than does either carbon dioxide or water. Right? And so in this very specific small instance, I've decreased the entropy. Right? I took something that was disordered and I made it ordered. In order to do this, though, the process of photosynthesis has to be paired with a reaction system that is increasing entropy elsewhere. Right? And that reaction happens to be the fusion of hydrogen within the sun. Right? So photosynthesis uses that sunlight energy, right? And now it's part of that reaction system. Right? And so in the sun, there's hydrogens, right? And the pressure and heat of the sun forces them together, right? Into fusion into helium atoms. Right? And now that process it's a crazy process, right? Making one element become a different element, making one atom become a different atom. It's not something that just happens willy-nilly. Right? That's a big deal. And when that happens, part of the mass of those two hydrogens are converted into energy. So we have matter being converted into energy in that reaction. Right? And so matter is way more organized than is energy. Right? So I have a huge increase in entropy through that fusion process. Right? And so that gets released as heat, gets released as the sunlight, right? And that comes down and beams down onto us, and our plants harness that sunlight energy, right? That entropic change, right? It makes use in that increase in entropy to, in its own little instance of creating glucose, to decrease the entropy. Right? And so this is true of all the reactions that we have that are creating order. They are always going to be paired with some greater reaction that's making disorder. Right? And so in our small little lives, we are decreasing entropy. Well, but as an overall system, right, us as living creatures pairing off with these larger, more entropically favorable situations actually increases the overall rate of entropy in any given system. Right? So life is a natural outcome of the principle of entropy because we help facilitate entropy overall. Yeah. Um, as a general concept, reactions that increase entropy overall will release free energy, make it available to do work, whereas reactions that decrease entropy require an input of energy. Right? And now energy can be neither created nor destroyed, only converted in forms. Right? And so effectively, when you are making order, like a glucose, you're storing energy because you've decreased the entropy. Right? But when you break that back down, you increase the entropy and you get that energy back. Right? And so that's why glucose works as a storage molecule for energy. Right? Changes in entropy. Entropic manipulation. Right? We're good at that as living things. And now obviously life requires a lot of order so we don't fall apart, and therefore we require a constant input of energy to maintain that order. And that's it. Entropy in life. Bye.